Throughout this series, we've ranked many of the iconic ninjas and fighters. After all this time, I feel it was time to cover Mortal Kombat's first female representative, Sonya Blade. This character has been kicking ass since the first title and, to me, stands out as one of the greatest divas in pop culture. So, today, we're going to be ranking all 15 of Sonya Blade's fatalities from the worst to the best. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. My name is Nick, and welcome back to the channel. If you are new, be sure to drop a like and click the subscribe button to join the Whack Pack today. Today, we're taking a look at Sonya Blade, my mom's favorite character in the series. Oh, and if you're watching this, hi Mom! Sonya Blade is known as the first female fighter and the person who introduced players to the Special Forces. This trained soldier has various ways to finish the opponent. Many of you know how these finishers will be ranked, based on creativity, pacing, impact among the franchise, and personality. Here are the ground rules that will apply for Sonya. Rule number 1, brutalities, stage fatalities, and mortalities will not be included on this list. Rule number 2, fatalities from Mortal Kombat Armageddon won't count on this list. And rule number 3, recreated fatalities will count as their own entry in this list. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, many games do something different with these classic finishers, for better or for worse, and each will count as its own on this list. Example, there are various editions of the Kiss of Death, with each one doing something different. In return, each will be ranked differently. With these rules established, let's lace up our combat boots, brace up our wrist doodads, and our little turret companion as we rank all 15 of Sonya Blade's fatalities across all Mortal Kombat games. Number 15. Starting things off with Mortal Kombat vs. DC. To be honest, many of the Sonya finishers have been average or pretty good, so deciding how to rank these finishers was pretty challenging, but I cannot deny this is the weakest of all of her finishers.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
Yeah, this one just doesn't do it for me. Sure, it could be a reference to the Mortal Kombat film from 1995, but like the movie, the violence is very toned down for the teen demographic. Due to the teen rating, they couldn't do the scissor split, which is a bit of a disappointment. Sure, it's a cool kill from a martial artist standpoint, but it's weak from a Mortal Kombat point of view. Number 14. Staying on topic with Combat, MK vs. DC. In previous episodes, which you should check out after you're done watching this, classic finishers were brought back into this title, but were heavily toned down. Like those toned down finishers, they tend to rank pretty low on these lists. Sonya's Fire Kiss was no different.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
Not to repeat myself, but the mandated teen rating really makes this one come off as lacking and less energetic. Though the hearts are a nice touch before putting the opponent into a blaze, it feels very corny and cheesy, which is saying a lot for this title. We've already got both finishers from MK vs. DC out of the way, so we can kiss this title goodbye. Number 13. Jumping ahead to 2015 with Mortal Kombat X. In the past, I've given these finishers a bit of criticism for not doing a whole lot to stand out as a remake. So far, in this series, every one of these finishers have not been able to beat out the classic versions, and Fire Kiss follows that trend.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
To be fair, this one is extremely faithful to the classic version from 1992. It includes the burn down to the skeleton, the Fire Kiss twirls in the same direction, and it even ends with an odd T-pose. From a stylistic standpoint in MKX, it stands out as pretty weak. If the team really wants to bring back classic finishers, then I'd like to see them do some cool updates to make them feel unique. Overall, this one just doesn't do anything special for me. Number 12. Moving our way into the 5th mainline game in the series with Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance. Though this game was well received when it released in November 2002, jeez, I feel so old once I said that, the fans stated some of the fatalities are either a hit or a miss. For me, this game tends to have weird finishers that rely too much on head pops and a handful of creative ones. So where does Sonya's land?
Sonya wins. Fatality.
Though this finisher has an interesting approach, I think this falls apart by going for the game's trend of constant head pops. Though it kind of drags on, I think the poison kiss is nice, kind of reminding me of how I vomited after I got my first kiss, which was last week if you wanted to know that. If they made just the bloody vomit to start with and tried something different from a head pop, then this could have been placed a little higher on the list. Number 11. Making our way to the Mortal Kombat reboot from 2011. In my opinion, all of the fatalities from this game are pretty solid, with a few that really don't hit the mark for me. Sadly, Sonya has one of these finishers that aren't up to quality in comparison to the rest of MK9's finishers.
Mission accomplished.
To be honest, I am happy they did manage to do something different than the Kiss of Death variation, as that seemed to be used quite a lot throughout Sonya's existence, but this one feels a bit out of place for the reboot. It's a cool assassination, don't get me wrong, but it feels like a stealthy kill you would do in either Duty of Call or Solid Gears of Metal. I can appreciate the team trying something new, but at least they managed to find out what to do with Sonya in the future. Number 10. Time to head back into Mortal Kombat X for Sonya's second fatality. In this game, one of Sonya's variations heavily focused on her RAV4 drone. It can do some pretty cool combos if you know how to work with it, and can be quite an asset for Sonya to win her match. But how does this apply to her fatality? Oddly enough, this one feels a bit off. Besides the whole smoke grenade part, this really doesn't feel too much like Sonya. This really feels like a scrapped Triborg finisher or something like that. Sure, it has the drone that's tied to her variation, but it really feels like it's stealing the show with Sonya being sidelined. Overall, if they managed to have Sonya do something with the drone, then that would have been really cool and would have placed it a bit higher. Number 9. Time to arcade one up with Mortal Kombat 3. With Sonya making her return after being absent from Mortal Kombat 2, many fans were excited to see what she had to bring. So, let's dive into it.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
So, this one is a bit weird to me. So far, we've only seen Sonya do kiss-based fatalities, and I was really hoping for something else. Instead of becoming a pile of bones, they just made the body go boom with some love-powered energy? I don't know. It's weird, kinda like the rest of the finishers from this game. Hopefully the other kiss-based variations won't crush my expectations. Number 8. Jumping into Mortal Kombat 4, the three-dimensional spectacle. With many finishers getting the remake treatment, many varied in quality. So, we expected some form of the Kiss of Death to make a comeback for Mortal Kombat 4. However, the team decided to be creative, and not just set the opponent ablaze, but do something with the cutting-edge technology.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
Alongside Liu Kang's dragon finisher, this was a standout for this game. Instead of burning the opponent, Sonya decides to spit a bunch of micro razor blades, I guess, that slice the opponent in several gibs from the waist up. Not really sure how that works, but it's a pretty cool one that I can't complain about. Number 7. Time to jump back to the one that started it all, Mortal Kombat 1. Fun fact about the series, during the testing of Mortal Kombat 1, the original cast did not have Sonya Blade. After hearing that she was included last minute, many would have expected a lackluster finisher, but she actually gets a pretty unique one.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
Now this is a classic. Like all of the other finishers from this game, it helped define who the character is and has been a staple in almost every title. Though it wasn't brought back in Mortal Kombat 11, it was referenced in one of her outros. For being a late addition, it managed to be a great finisher that would be referenced during the series' run. Number 6. Heading back into Mortal Kombat 4, where Sonya's first finisher was a different but unique take on the Kiss of Death fatality, it was about time we got a new fatality for Major Blade. With their crazy leg grappling skills, the team got creative and had Major Blade do some major pain.
Sonya wins. Fatality.
This one just kicks ass. I've complained saying that many of MK4's fatalities were very poor, but this one is a diamond in the rough. I also think the repeat from 3 different angles is an awesome touch as well. With how fast her legs move, it just shows how strong she is, splitting the opponent like a banana. I feel everyone might agree with me, so I guess I can say that we're not split on this one. Number 5. Taking one final look back at Mortal Kombat X. Throwback to what I said a few minutes ago, where I said it would be cool if Sonya did something with the drone for another finisher. Was my request granted for her last fatality? Yep, this one manages to be a great finisher. This one feels like a fusion of the cutthroat finisher from MK9 mixed with the drone being a companion, rather than being the star of her first MKX finisher. Although I find using the skull as a lanyard to be pretty weird, something that the Predator would do, it still gets the job done and is a pretty good finisher. Unlike the first one, this one doesn't drone on. Number 4. Time to finish up Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. We know that Sonya was well known for giving her opponents a kiss goodbye before finishing them off. With the first MK3 finisher being a weird take on the Kiss of Death, we were hoping to see the classic finisher actually do some justice. So, we got what we wanted.
Sonya wins. Flawless victory. Fatality.
Personally, I find this to be the best version of the Fire Kiss. It doesn't do too much more than the MK1 version, only just adding the fire and having the skeleton fall apart at the end. If it did an explosion, like Scorpion's Toasty from Mortal Kombat 2, then that would have made it a little too much for me. This is just how to update a classic while improving on it. Like the skeleton, this one is just lit. Number 3. Finally heading into the game with some of the best fatalities, Mortal Kombat 11. Throughout all of Sonya's fatalities, many of them don't really highlight too much of her military weaponry, besides the energy rings and the drone from MKX. With this game, we didn't get one military-themed finisher, but 2. So let's...
Get to the chopper!
Sonya Blade calling in air support.
Okay, maybe that's not what Dutch meant by that, Sonya. But this is a finisher that is goofy, but it embraces it. It's almost like a stage fatality, but the use of the wrist guns help it make it feel over the top and very fitting for Sonya. Overall, this is one that I'm just a huge fan of. Number 2. Headed into the Mortal Kombat reboot one more time. When we looked back at one of Sonya's MK4 finishers, I stated it was a unique finisher that was a standout for the game. With this game reviving some classic finishers, we couldn't wait to see what the team could put together for us. And it was awesome.
Mission accomplished.
Call the opponent paper because Sonya just scissor split them in a brutal fashion. The reason why this one ranks higher than the MK4 version is due to a few factors. First off, I think the slow start to hear the opponent scream just shows how painful it is, and the cinematic slow-mo is just an amazing touch for this game. Now let's hope the next Mortal Kombat title can bring this splitter back. Number 1. Finally hitting the number 1 spot with Mortal Kombat 11. In the last two titles, Mortal Kombat X and Mortal Kombat 11, the devs gave Sonya Blade a little drone buddy to help her with her fight. As I've mentioned earlier, some of the drone finishers vary in quality, but this one takes the cake for being intense and awesome.
Fatality. Sonya wins.
Of all of the finishers we've seen in this episode, this one seems to put the opponent in the most amount of pain, starting with a painful looking hyperextension to a broken nose. Afterwards, Sonya calls in a little favor which splits the opponent in an extremely creative way, and ending it all with a
Boom headshot! Boom headshot! Boom headshot!
This highlights how well the Mortal Kombat 11 finishers take advantage of what the characters are capable of doing while making the most brutal Sonya Blade finisher. For these reasons, this is what makes this the #1 Sonya Blade fatality of all time. So there you have my rankings for all of Sonya Blade's fatalities. What is your ranking of Sonya Blade's fatalities? If you don't want to give all 15, what's your top 5? Let me know in the comments down below and I'll get back with you. Reminder, this is not the definitive list. This is just my list and your list is your list. Please let's not attack each other over our opinions. We aren't going to agree on everything, which is what makes discussion more fun. Also remember to drop a like in this video and subscribe to join the Whack Pack today. Your support is what makes this fun series continue. So let's continue to grow the channel to get more fun rankings like these down the line. Be sure to tune in next time as I cover Sonya Blade and the Special Forces #1 enemy, Kano.
Hello, baby. Did you miss me?
As always, thank you all very much for tuning into this video. My name is Nick, and remember to have an amazing day.